And good morning, everybody. WISD live in Weslaco. It's about 76 degrees at KWES Middle School as you're taking a look at some of the kids heading to class here. And Freddie Rodriguez is the principal over there at KWES Middle School. Good luck to all the kids. I know that there has been some STAR testing that has already taken place. It took place last week, and there'll be a little bit more taking place later on, the first couple of weeks in May. So good luck to all the students. And that's just a beautiful campus there, KWES Middle School. Hello, everybody. Carlos Robledo along with Mike Gonzalez, and we are live at our studios here at KWES for another edition of WISD Live. And we'll be talking about a lot of things. We'll be talking about who is the most famous person here at WISD. We'll talk about the Auto Body Collision Club and an event that they had earlier this month or last month. And we'll also talk a little bit about football. In fact, we'll start doing that right now because Coach Mike Salinas was hired. He's been on the job for about 3 weeks now, and he spoke to some kids over at Weslaco High School about on a Dining for Dads event. And he talked a little bit about developing the character and his relationship with his dad. And it was good to see Mike Salinas because this was his first opportunity to be out in the public and get an opportunity to talk to some of the kids, talk to some of the players and the parents. And he also talked a little bit about how sports helped him in his life. Because remember, he played high school football in Edinburgh. Then he moved on to Texas A&M Kingsville before starting his career as a high school football coach and college coach. And he talked a little bit about how football and sports help build his character.
Every situation I was in as a student athlete, I believe helped prepare me in real life situations as I got out, and I understood the importance of work ethic. I understood the importance of seeing things through. I understood the importance of competition and knowing that you have to be at your best when your best is required, and there's something to say for showing up every day and being the best version of yourself. So those are all things that I learned through athletics and through coaches. So our job now is to just be able to give back and positively impact the kids that we're around, because we're going to impact them good or bad, and we want to make sure it's for the good.
All right, Mike. So you and I had an opportunity to sit down and talk to Coach Michael Salinas yesterday. Talked to him about 30, 45 minutes about his philosophy, talked a little bit of X's and O's, and we talk about the spread offense because, yes, it is coming to Weslaco High School.
The spread offense is here, Carlos. We're moving on from the slot T to the spread. We asked him about it, how long it's going to take, and he was just, talking about how he intends to implement it slowly. It's going to require a lot of patience. So, we need to let the Panther fans, administration, everybody know that we're going to need to be a little bit patient with these things, because moving on from a slot T offense to a spread, that's a big time transition, Carlos. And so we're going to see how that goes. He needs to find some quarterbacks. He needs to find some receivers. Scheme-wise, it also changes things up for the offensive line, right?
Well, we were talking to him a little bit yesterday, and all we talked about was, yes, the change that's going to come, the transition, because for the past, 11, 12 years, it was a slot T offense. But now they're going to come out. It's going to be a totally different formation, and they'll be throwing that football around. So he's going to have to find himself a quarterback. Do we have a dual-threat quarterback here at Weslaco ISD? We don't know. We got runners. We know we got guys that can run with the best of them. But do we have someone who can throw that football around? And that's going to be certainly that's needed in this type of offense. So he's going to evaluate the talent and go from there.
Yeah, that's right, Carlos. And if you remember, when Coach Salinas, we asked him about the playbook, he showed us the big old binder that he has. It's very, very thick. And in working with some of these coaches, Carlos, throughout the years as a sports writer, the spread offense is a lot. There's a lot to learn. So these kids are going to need to study very, very hard. The great thing is, Carlos, that Weslaco ISD, we have some very bright students, very, very bright student athletes. And, Coach Salinas pretty much said, it depends how they handle it as far as him installing it, how deep in the playbook is he going to go first off? It's going to be a process.
Right. In fact, you and I were talking earlier this week with some of the guys, and just about throwing the ball around. Is it going to be that complicated? And in talking to him, yeah, it can be a little bit complicated. The quarterback's going to have to go up there, and he's going to have to look at the line and then go from there. The linemen, they're going to have to do something different than they were doing in the past, because it was a lot of, like I said, run blocking. Now it's going to be pass blocking. So the linemen are going to have to change a little bit. And then we'll have to find out, do we have the skilled players out there who can catch the football?
Yeah, that's right, Carlos. I mean, yeah, I mean, it's one thing when you play 7-on-7 or play in somebody's backyard, you catch a football, but it's a whole lot different when you do it in a varsity football game in front of 10,000 people, even more than that. So, it's going to require a lot of patience, as we mentioned, Carlos. This is something Coach Salinas will do throughout the spring, throughout the summer. I know one of the things he talked to us about is starting spring football.
Spring football is going to start May 1st. And in essence, football season for the Weslaco Panthers is going to start on May 1st, because what they do is they have about 3 weeks of spring football. So you're going to go out there, you get to put on the pads, you get to do pretty much everything that you do with football that you do, leading up to the season. Then there's a spring football game that they'll have as well. People are going to be excited about that. They'll do the 3 weeks of that. Then they'll take a little break because there's graduations. Then they'll do 6 weeks of summer workouts, and that's going to be more of your conditioning, hitting the weights, and those types of things. Really, not a lot of football will be involved in that, but just getting conditioned and ready. And then they'll have those 2 weeks ready for the football season. And they're going to have to get ready pretty quick. Let's take a look at the schedule, or at least the first 4 games of the season for the Weslaco Panthers. Because you take a look, it's going to be a brutal schedule, a tough schedule. And you're taking on George Ranch. You're taking on San Antonio Marshall. Anytime you play a San Antonio school, you never know what you're going to get. Then you're playing Mercedes, a very, very tough 5A school. And then Weslaco East, who went 3 deep into the playoffs. So the Panthers are going to have to prepare pretty quick. Just taking a look at that schedule, Mike.
I know, Carlos. George Ranch, right off the bat, it's a road game this coming year. Carlos, they came into our house in 2016. Now we have to go over there. San Antonio Marshall will come to Weslaco. Mercedes on the road has always been a difficult place to play. We know that, and now that they have their new stadium, it's going to be exciting there. And then, of course, to start district off is Weslaco East. But I am very happy to see that Coach Salinas is going to start spring football. That was one of the things I was kind of curious about when they hired him, and not surprisingly, he said he was going to do it. Being that we're moving on into a new era, new philosophy, I think it's an excellent idea.
Without mentioning any names, Mike, and, taking a look and following Weslaco football here over the years, do you think there's a dual threat quarterback out there?
That is a very good question, Carlos. But, I mean, I've always said here in Weslaco, we have excellent students. We have excellent athletes that, as you mentioned, they can run. And we haven't thrown the football here in Weslaco since before Coach Tony got here, in the early 2000s, I think. And I know before that, they would throw the ball, quite a bit too. So, but this is the longest that I could remember Weslaco High being more of probably since the late 80s, where they were more running than passing. But now, we're going to change things up. I remember in 1991 when Coach Hite got here, he brought in his spread formation, and it worked out pretty well. Mm-hmm. So we look forward to seeing the same results with Coach Salinas now.
Parents at the junior high level, look forward to your son playing football in a spread offense, because Coach Salinas talked a little bit about that, how, he'll start at the junior high level, 7th, 8th grade students. They're going to learn that spread offense, so by the time they get to the high school, they'll be ready to go full-blown with this offense. Also look forward to when the realignment takes place after this year, trying to get Donna back into the mix. We talked to Coach Salinas a little bit about that, and he says that's probably one of the top questions that he gets asked all the time. Is Weslaco going to play Donna again? So he's certainly going to try to revive that rivalry with the Redskins. So we'll see what happens there.
Yeah, that's right, Carlos said. We all know how big that rivalry is between Donna and Weslaco. It's not only big for the Mid-Valley, it's a Valley thing.
Sure.
And bringing it back would mean a whole lot to everybody around here in the Mid-Valley and across the Valley. Let's pack that stadium up again and get fans excited for a big non-district game early in the season.
All right, so we'll be talking more about football right around May 1st, which is about 3 weeks away. And, we'll have some highlights of the spring game, and we'll see what Coach is saying about his evaluation of the players and how this offense and the defense. We haven't even talked about the defense and how the defense is doing as spring football continues or begins May 1st. Let's take a look at some highlights, baseball highlights, because there was a big baseball game last night. Weslaco East was at Weslaco High School there, in a beautiful night for baseball. Weslaco East is coming off a big win against Brownsville-Hanna, but last night, this is Nate Campos taking this shot over the left field wall. It's gone for a 2-run home run, and Weslaco High, the Panthers, had no problem with Weslaco East. As you watch Campos round the bases right there, Weslaco High beat Weslaco East last night, the Panthers, in a victory 11-0, and they did it in 5 innings. So a little bit of a surprise there because we're expecting maybe a closer game here because Weslaco East coming off a big win against Brownsville Hanna on Friday. Hector Covarrubias pitched a fantastic game, and Weslaco East beat Hanna. Hanna was number 1 or in first place in 32-6A, and East beat them 18-8. But last night it was all Weslaco High.
It was all Weslaco, Carlos. This was the first game of round 2 of the district schedule here, and Weslaco East, Carlos, in years past, normally you would see them down in the standings, but this year they're actually fighting for a playoff spot. They're right in the thick of the race, Carlos. They're only 2 games behind 4th place, and I'll just kind of run down the standings a little bit here. But we got Brownsville Hanna, we got Harlingen, and we got Los Fresnos, all at 6-2. Those 3 teams, Carlos, have beaten Weslaco High, and that's why you have Weslaco High right now at 5-3. And Coach Sedano told me yesterday, he goes, 2 of those games we could have won. Absolutely. We were right in position. Yeah. So moving forward, he thinks clutch hitting is going to be the key for them to keep that playoff spot. And then you have Weslaco East right behind there at 3-5. That's, as I mentioned, Carlos, they were down in the standings in years past. They're fighting for a playoff spot. Coach Brown is very, very excited. He goes, we're getting better every day. And I asked him, I go, how does it feel to even be in the race? He was like, oh, it's stressful, but it feels good. So they're on track, Carlos, to perhaps make school history in wins. They have about 10 wins already, and that's right around the neighborhood of the most wins they've had historically.
Hector Covarrubias is a player to look out for Weslaco East. When you see him pitch, he's got a wicked curveball. I mean, that comes right at you, and then it just drops out of the strike zone, then into the strike zone, or it just baffles batters. He pitched on Friday against Hanna, but because of a new rule, he couldn't pitch again on Tuesday last night.
And Carlos, he is one of 3 players on the Weslaco East team that has played since their freshman year. There are 8 seniors overall in the team. They have 1 other player that has been in varsity since the sophomore year. So we're talking an experienced team that went through the growing pains, and now they've grown and they're ready to make a run.
All right, let's move on now to a car show that took place at the parking lot of Weslaco High School. The teacher parking lot was full of all these classic cars from across Weslaco. The community got involved. That's because the Automotive Club from Weslaco ISD CTE program held their first ever car show at the high school. This is a fundraiser for the kids. People from the community brought their cars out here they were out there promoting their classes, and this is just a great program for the kids here. They learn a little bit about body work. They learn how to take out dents, rust spots, and even applying artwork on their vehicles. So if you have a child who's moving on to high school, this is a program they might want to look into, because once you leave the auto body program at the Kate facility over here at Weslaco ISD, there's an opportunity that your son or your daughter can get a job, either working in a body shop or maybe even opening up their own shop. But that's just a great organization out there and a successful program. Their first ever car show.
Yeah, that's right, Carlos. And as you mentioned, they had a fundraiser for it as well. What do they use that money for? Where they use it to buy supplies, they use it for to buy themselves some T-shirts, and they just wanted to have a great time out there. They want to get the word out to the community, and they hope to have this event coming. As we mentioned, it's the first time they want to have it for upcoming years as well.
All right, we're going to go ahead and take a break here on WISD Live. When we come back, we'll talk more about all the great things that are happening here at Weslaco ISD. Before Harlan Block raised the flag over Iwo Jima, he was a student at Weslaco ISD. There he played for the Panthers, won a championship, and learned some of the leadership skills he and 7 other students used while serving in the Marines. Weslaco ISD is home to some of the most prominent graduates in the Rio Grande Valley. For war hero Harlan Block, Weslaco ISD was the right choice. I'd like to remind all the parents about Meet This Middle School Night, which will take place Wednesday, April 12th between 5 and 7 o'clock, 7 p.m. If you have a child who is in 6th grade right now and they're going to be moving on to the middle school, to the junior highs, go to B. Garza Central, KWES, or Mary Hogue Middle Schools between 5 and 7. This will take place next Wednesday, April 12th between 5 and 7, and learn a little bit about all the great activities that your child will be able to be involved in, and learn a little bit more more about the middle school experience here at WISD, because it includes some fantastic things such as athletics. That's right. They get to start to wear their jerseys. They get to start to wear that purple and white or that black and white. They'll be involved in band. They can be involved in theater. They can be involved in cross country, like you see right there, cheerleading, the National Junior Honor Society. They have these pep rallies that take place as well at the gym. So a lot of school spirit is involved at the middle school, clubs and organizations. It's really just when you go to the middle schools here, and I know this personally because my daughter, she's now in high school. My son is an 8th grader, and it's something where you get to learn a little bit more about their personality. You know, they get recognized. They're in the National Junior Honor Society. They're involved in sports, and they get to kind of break out of their shell a little bit. And it's just a great opportunity next week. Meet the middle school once again. Go out there to the school that your child is going to go to, whether it be B. Garza, Central KWES, or Mary Hogue. So that'll be taking place next Wednesday. All right, let's move on now to Special Olympics, because the Special Olympics basketball team, Mike, they got a big game coming up here in a few weeks.
That's right, Carlos. Val Zamora and I had an opportunity to go visit the Special Olympics basketball team, Team Weslaco, which consists of students from Wesco High and Wesco East. They are one Wesco. They are gearing for a state tournament set to take place in May at Arlington, Carlos, and they qualified after a second-place finish at a Special Olympics tournament held at Shareland Pioneer. Believe it or not, Carlos, these guys, they can ball, man. They got some skills. They're going after it in practice. They hope to gel a little bit more. They're doing a fantastic job. They're having a great time. The parents who are out there supporting, the coaches out there working hard. And so we look for a positive result in the tournament.
All right, good luck to them. And also next week, the Special Olympics track and field events will be taking place at Weslaco's Bobby Lackey Stadium. So look out for that here on the campus or here at Weslaco ISD. All right, let's move on to WISD famous. And this is Pat Hingle, who is a Weslaco High School student in the 40s. That's him right there in the 40s. Actually went to school the same era as Bobby Lackey. This is a photo from the 1942 yearbook. He went to UT, then he dropped out. He had to drop out because he went to World War II. He served in World War II in the Navy. Then he went back to UT, received his radio degree in broadcasting. And then after that, he had a film career. And Pat Hingle, you may recognize him as Commissioner Gordon, James Gordon in Batman. That's Pat Hingle right there. He was in Batman, Batman Returns, Batman Forever, and Batman and Robin. He was also in several other films. He was also in Matlock, which is a television show people might know from the 80s, Matlock. He was also in Murder, She Wrote, which is a very popular show as well. But if you're ever, on Netflix or you're on DVD, watching some old DVDs of some of the Batman series, look out for Commissioner Gordon. This is Pat Hingle from Weslaco ISD. Had a very, very good career in film. He passed away in 2008. He was 84 years of age, but he's one of our famous people, Mike.
Yeah, Carlos, and he was also in big-time TV roles in The Twilight Zone. And I'm sure you remember MASH from back in the late 70s, early 80s. And as you mentioned, Matlock, he was in a ton of these TV shows, Carlos, that I didn't even know about until I did research with him. But I remember I did a story on him when he passed away when I was in the town crier. And I mean, just another son from Wesco High School to come out that I'm sure a lot of people don't know. Well, now you do, and it's something to be proud of.
And we'll continue this series. There are several athletes. A lot of people know, of course, about Bobby Lackey and some of our other athletes that we have celebrated. But there's certainly some celebrities here at WISD and some famous people. So we'll continue on with this series as we continue on with this WISD Live. All right, Mike, it's time for Extra Extra. So this is when Mike Gonzalez takes a look at all the extracurriculars and all the kids that are involved in UIL and all the different events across the state of Texas and across the Rio Grande Valley. Mike, what is going on?
All right, Carlos. Well, Weslaco ISD had a fantastic month. Once again, we'll start with powerlifting. Congratulations to the Weslaco High School girls powerlifting team who finished second overall at the Texas High School Powerlifting Association meet. Valerie Silva, Helen Reyes, and Martha Salaya brought home individual state championships in their class. Let's move on to Wesco High School JROTC. Let's salute the Wesco High School JROTC team, which captured first place in inspection, second place for drill, and second place for overall unarmed and overall best color guard commander. Job well done, Wesco High School JROTC. Now to Wesco East. Students from Wesco East captured first place in the District 32 6A UIL Literary Criticism Meet. Rebecca Cruz, who has rolled through the invitational meets, also placed first in district. The whole team will compete at regionals set for San Antonio. Now, let's move on to accounting. Carlos, they did it. Wesco East sweeps all RGV invitational meets for the 5th consecutive year after coming out on top in the District 32 6A UIL accounting meet. Keller Fallardo was a first-place winner individually, while Haley Germain placed in second. The squad advanced to regional competition set for April 7th through 8th in San Antonio. Now, let's move on to the Journalism Club. Wesco East Journalism Club also advances to regionals after coming out victorious in the district meet. It was a total team effort by all 4 students, Carlos. We need to mention Kayla Vallejo, who placed first in editorial writing. Regionals is set to take place in San Antonio. Hats off to Wesco East Erica Colunga from Ready Writing Club. Her 3rd place finish in the district meet qualified her, Carlos, to the regional competition. Now, East Side, Strong Side, Powerlifting, Carlos, the girls squad with another terrific season. The team placed 4th overall in Texas High School Powerlifting Association meet. Melissa Morales captured gold in the 259-pound plus class. She shattered the state record, Carlos, in the bench press with a lift of 300 pounds and tied the state record in the squad with a lift of 600 pounds. And finally, we like to recognize Bailey Bagwell, Karen Jimenez, and Luceria Rojas from Wesco High School, who received the National Center for Women in Technology Award. The San Antonio Area Aspirations Community in Computing honored young women from South Texas high schools for their computing-related achievements and interests. Congratulations to all students, athletes, teachers, and their coaches for all their accomplishments. Carlos, back to you.
All right. Congratulations once again to all the kids here at Wesco ISD. Good luck to the regional UIL academic team from Wesco and Wesco East, because as Mike said, they will be in San Antonio for that regional meet, and that is actually taking place this weekend, so good luck to them. Also like to remind everybody that this Saturday, the 32-6A meet will be taking place. The district meet actually starts on Thursdays with the preliminaries. The finals are on Friday, and you can watch that live on KWES and also KWES Facebook. So also look out for softball and baseball. We'll be having some more of those games for you guys as we get closer to the playoffs. And that'll do it for WISD Live. I'm Carlos Robledo. For Mike Gonzalez, we'll see you next time.